There are three top money rules that have really shaped my financial life. These are rules that I gained either by experience or based on my environment. Looking back, I now realize they have really been, what's the deep word, the tapestry of my financial life. The first rule is that it's not so much about what you have coming in as much as it is what you have going out. This I learned right when I became a working professional. School was done, and so I was working full time. Payday will come around and I get so excited. Oof, the balance is full. We're ready to, we have money. But then you see all those things just eat into that money. You pay this, you pay this, you pay that. And before you know it, you're back to square one. You don't really have much left over. And right then was when I learned you have to be intentional with what you commit your money to every single month. This is actually not a low income problem. This is a behavioral problem, a habit problem. And I knew this as a fact because back then I would watch the Susie Orman show. They had a segment called Can I Afford It? This is a segment where people would call in because they have a trip they want to take or something they wanted to buy. And they wanted Susie's opinion to let them know if it was a good move based on their income and their expenses, if this was something they can afford to do. So they would call in, they would give their income, and man, people would call in, they were bringing in 10,000 a month for 10,000 a month and even more. And to me back then, who was making, it wasn't more than 1,200 a month. I mean, that's if it was up to at the time. I'm not doing the math, but to me then it just felt like, what are you calling? Yes, you can. You can afford it. What? If you're making 10,000 a month, what are you calling it for? But then when they start listing out the expenses, you would see someone who makes 10,000 a month and they would, 8,000 in expenses. And it would just baffle me. I would go, what, how? I couldn't understand how. So I learned from early on that you have to be intentional with protecting that paycheck. If you're not protecting that paycheck, it will gladly get eaten out. And now that I have my family, we have more expenses than back then when it was just me, myself, and I. It still applies, when we're buying a house, when we're signing the kids up for extracurricular activities, or when we're buying anything for the home. I always look at it from a monthly point of view. The bank says we can afford X amount of house, and I go, no, 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 no. I'm looking at that mortgage payment, and I'm focused on how much is coming out from my paycheck every single month. The second money rule that has drastically changed my life financially is knowing that wealth is achievable. It's not this thing that is out there and only for those with, those top degrees like tech and those who can code and all that. Regular folks are achieving wealth. Regular folks are actually living a life that they want. Having that mindset is you believing that you have what it takes to become what you want to become. And so because of that, because you can take action. But when you think it's all stacked up against you, or you can't because people like you don't, or you can't because you didn't get that tech degree, or you don't know how to code, you've already lost because what will make you take action? But when you know you can, then you can look into, all right, how do we get it done? Right? A quote by Thomas Stanley is the perfect explanation of this money rule. He said, before you become a millionaire, you must learn to think like one. You must learn how to motivate yourself to counter fear with courage. When I was younger in grade school, we would get ranked. At the end of the school year, depending on the number of kids you have in your class, you will get ranked. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and all that. I would take my results home. All of us, all the kids will take our results home. And my parents, especially my dad, he would say, so the kid who got first, does he or she have two heads? Do they have two heads? You could see that as toxic parenting, and we could make an argument for that. But what they were trying to ingrain in us is that there is no difference between you and the person who got first or second or third. You put in work and you can get first, second, third, fourth, fifth place, whatever it is. And it's the same with wealth. It all starts with the mind. When you believe you can, then you work towards it. The next money rule is broad, so it's going to take me a minute to break it down, but it's one that has really guided my financial decisions. It's also sometimes an unpopular opinion, and that is, it's not just about making money, it's also about peace of mind and the quality of life. Let me break down that quality of life then. What's the point in trying to make all this money and get all this money in if I can't take time to spend with the people that matter to me? If my family isn't getting quality time, then what's the point of making all this money? Or just take a break or just rest? If I can't do that, then what's the point? I would rather cap my money right here if that means I can balance my quality of life rather than aim for getting all the way up here. If this is going to suffer, I'm comfortable with capping here because this quality of life matters to me. The reason why we're doing all this right here, the reason why we're trying to make this money is for this. So it doesn't make sense to let this down while chasing this. Sometimes the words, but I think you get it. The next part of that is having peace of mind. I don't care what the wealth opportunity is. If it's set up in a way that I always have to worry about worst case scenario, then it's a no for me. I always, always think about being prepared for the worst case scenario. And I think that comes from, starting up adulthood during the recession in 2008 to 2009. That's probably where it comes from, and also life in general. I don't want a situation where my wealth is set up like a domino where one thing falls and everything comes crashing down. Don't want that. With that in mind, emergency savings is priority for me. I don't want a situation where should we lose our job, lose our income, then I lose the house I've worked hard for, I lose the car I've been paying for, we're destitute just because we don't have money coming in for the last 3 months. I also make sure I'm insured, health insurance, home insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, term life insurance, because health can also be the reason why the domino effect happens. Someone gets sick, they lose the money coming in, and here you are. Looking at businesses, I do not support any side hustle or business opportunity that requires me taking so much of a risk. People would advise take equity from your home and put that as a down payment for a rental or start a business with the money. I can't do that because to me, all I see is you will putting so much debt on your primary residence to get more debt or to open a business whose profit is not guaranteed. That is not peace of mind for me because worst case scenario, say the rental stops paying. Now I'm owing so much, not just on the rental property, but on my primary residence. I'm owing my mortgage. I'm owing on the home equity line of credit. And then I'm owing, so should anything go wrong, I'm at risk at losing everything. I can't. That to me is not having peace of mind. Just too debt heavy for me when I'm trying to make sure I don't have a mortgage payment by the time I retire. This also guides me when it comes to those make money quick things. It's not about the money coming in. It's me having peace of mind with what I'm selling. What am I selling? Am I okay with that? When I sold things on Facebook Marketplace, some things will have some scratches, especially if it's like the kids' toys or whatever, or house stuff. I would make sure I took good pictures of those scratches so you know what you're buying. It's still good. It's just it has a couple scratches because when I do that transaction, I want to have peace of mind knowing I didn't pull one over you. It was an honest transaction. You saw what you were buying, you were okay with it. You give me the money, I give you the goods. Having peace of mind and ensuring that my quality of life does not suffer in my attempt to gain wealth is huge for me. And it determines what I actually pursue. Pursue, pursue, tomato, tomato. What money rules have shaped your life? At least just the top. You can give me just one, your top money rule that you realize has really guided you making financial decisions. There are other rules, but I wanted to narrow it down to the top three. These are just subconscious now for me. It's not like I sit down and I think it through about, all right, what's rule number one? It just happens. It's part of who I am now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.